The Primus Asana. Could this be the perfect barefoot shoe? One of the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. Additionally, you're having a very minimal and barefoot experience. In terms of the cons, it's all around one key thing, and that is if they fix that, I think they'd have a top shoe on their hands. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ryan and this is Wide Strides. I review barefoot and wide toe box shoe reviews here on YouTube. And today we will be reviewing the Vivobarefoot Primus Asana. Now I actually have two versions of this shoe, one in brown in an EU size 46 and the second a white in EU size 47. And you can tell with the EU 47, I've been using it a lot more. It is a bit more banged up, but we'll get onto that in the review. This shoe also comes in a few different versions now. So it comes in this leather version and then also in this wool knit blend version, which are the versions that I have. So my first impressions when I took it out of the box was that I actually really like the looks of it and it actually feels very premium in hand. So in terms of the upper, there are two main materials to this upper. The first being this merino wool, which makes up the bulk of the upper, which is a one-piece sock-like upper. There is no separate tongue on this. It does feel extremely minimal, a little bit thicker than other knit upper barefoot shoes that I have used and a little bit stretchy, but overall very nice in the hand and very breathable. The second material is this wide hide leather, which attaches the eyelets, gives the shoe a bit more structure and adds the overall look of the shoe. It is on the sides and also wraps around in brown across the back here. Lastly, on the outside of the shoe, we have the laces, which are this nice organic cotton. They aren't too long as well. Moving on to the inside of the shoe. On the back end inside this shoe is leather inside, which does give your foot a very nice feeling when you slip your foot into it. It gives this nice soft feeling, which I do quite like. And then you have this lining on the other side underneath, which I believe is the same merino wool material that you see on the outside. Moving on to the insole of this shoe. Vivobarefoot uses their standard cork-based insole for this shoe. It is pretty standard across a number of their shoes. There's not too much going on here. I can see a lot of people taking these out without any issues at all. The outsole follows a very similar outsole to what they use across all of their Primus range. It's a 4mm outsole and has been very good. It is extremely flexible. This shoe, you are getting a very barefoot experience and you're getting a lot of feedback from the ground. At least I have when I've been using it. Overall, I am very impressed with this shoe. I do like the aesthetic of it and the materials, especially this merino wool, feels very nice in hand, as well as that leather lining on the back half feels very nice when you slot your foot into. Now let's get into how this shoe has performed on foot. Now, for whatever reason, this was one of the most comfortable barefoot shoes that I have ever worn. I think that's down to a few different features. First, what I mentioned before is that leather inside. It just makes a nice on-foot experience in terms of the softness around the heel. Second, I think it's the sock-like upper on this shoe. It gives it a slipper-like comfort and it just kind of molds and cradles your foot very well with no tongue here. It just all feels very comfortable. In terms of lockdown, it has been decent. I'm not using it really for anything more intensive than a walk, so there hasn't been any issues there. I feel like I don't need to pull the laces extra tight to lock down the foot. That being said, with the larger size that I have in the EU size 47, my foot is slipping around slightly on the bottom here. I don't mind that too much because that extra space gives a chance for my toes to splay, whereas on the size down, my foot's not moving around as much, but it does feel a lot tighter for me. So if you are in between sizes, I would recommend sizing up. There isn't a huge difference here. Compared to the Primus Light Knit, another shoe in this range, the sizing isn't consistent across these two. I previously fit an EU size 46, so I bought an EU size 46 thinking that would fit well for this shoe. It's not the case at all. They are narrower than the Primus Light Knit, so I would recommend trying to get these on foot before you purchase them. If you are in between sizes, size up. If you mainly wear one size, I still think this shoe is true to size. The other thing to note on the fit and sizing is around this heel collar. Even though this shoe is incredibly comfortable, the heel collar is quite stiff and rough, and it has caused some issues around my ankle. Let's move on to the performance of this shoe. So I've been mainly using this shoe for walking, being out and about, anything casual. I can even dress this up even though it is a sporty casual look. So for dog walking, if I need to be on foot all day out and about, I've used this. Even taken it as a one shoe if I'm going away for a weekend where I'll be out for a city break. In terms of the gym, I've not been using this shoe as for the gym, but I can see why people would if they have to occasionally do it, because you have such a grounded and minimal experience underfoot. You're getting a lot of feedback and stability when you're at the gym. So it can be used there, even though due to the materials on this and how it locks down your foot, I wouldn't recommend this for anything more intensive. That being said, I did use this once playing paddle, and that heel collar really roughed up my Achilles and did cause some bleeding there. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it for anything more intensive than walking at all. For walking, this heel collar really hasn't caused me an issue at all. So in terms of the grip, this outsole is a very similar one that they use for all of their Primus range, and it's been very good. Found that with all the Primus shoes. There's been no issue here. A lot of confidence in whatever scenario I use it. Going up hills in the wet, it's all been fine. There has been minimal wear, a little bit of wear on the forefoot and minor wear on the heel, but I think this has a lot more in it, and I've not seen any significant decrease in the wear on this at all. We'll move more on to durability here, and we'll start with the good aspects. One, like I said, the outsole durability has actually been very good. I expect this to last a lot longer, and the upper knit material, that merino wool material, is actually held up very well. The knit upper itself doesn't actually pick up too much dirt and hasn't been banged up too much in relation to the rest of the shoe. Now that's where unfortunately it stops in terms of the good news for the durability. Some of the disappointing aspects, and I think this is the big downfall of this shoe, is around the outsole attachment to the upper, so it does peel away on this shoe. On my other shoe here on the other foot, it's been peeling away a lot. Now this is really disappointing considering how much this shoe costs, and this isn't a standalone issue. I've had this on the Primus Light knits before on more than one pair, so it is very disappointing. Second, around the leather, there has been quite a lot of staining, discoloration, and marks that you do get on this leather, which is disappointing. Again, it picks up a lot of dirt considering you're paying for those premium materials. Let's talk a bit about the pricing of this shoe. So full retail, this shoe goes for about 180 USD. Considering for other barefoot sneakers in the market, you can pay in excess of 200 USD. And considering these materials are actually fairly premium in comparison to other shoes which might be made from polyester. That being said, when the durability is this bad, it's hard to justify to pay full price for this. If you are looking to purchase these, I've seen them as low as 120, 130 USD on sale, or on Vivobarefoot's resale website, Revivo, down about 100, 110 USD mark. Now I want to take a minute to talk about the full Primus range from Vivobarefoot. There are quite a few shoes in this range. The first one with the original Primus Light. This is their 3.5 version, but the original version, which I don't have on me anymore, the first version was actually the first barefoot shoe I ever got. And this is a full performance trainer, so if there's anything for the gym, any activities like HIIT sessions or anything more active that I would be doing, I'd be using this shoe. The second is where the Primus Asana sits in on the other end of that spectrum, being the sporty casual barefoot shoe, where you would be mainly using it for casual use, where you could get away with it for the odd gym session, but does appeal to that same audience. The shoe in the middle would be the Primus Light Knit. So this has a knit-like upper similar to the Primus Asana, but is more sport-based. I think this could easily fill the voids of both shoes, not do each as well, but I've been using this shoe a lot for walking around the city. It can get roughed up and banged up pretty well, and it also works well in the gym. I've done HIIT sessions and not had any issues at all. So the two other shoes offered by Vivobarefoot in their Primus range. First is the Primus Flaw. Now this is a running based shoe, so it's not meant to take any of the roles of the other shoes. I can see it easily being used in place of the Primus Light Knit or just the Primus Light. I'm actually really excited to test this shoe. I haven't yet, I've just got my hands on it. Right off the bat, it feels very wide in the forefoot, very light, very breathable. The other being Primus Light Trail or Primus Trail, I think, which is meant to be used for hikes. A very different shoe to these other ones. I have mixed opinions on that, but make sure you're subscribed for the upcoming reviews on this. So what's the verdict on the Primus Asana? In terms of pros, I think the materials on this shoe feel incredibly premium with that merino wool and also wide-hide leather around the sides. Very, very comfortable with that sock-like knit upper and smaller touches like the leather on the inside. One of the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. Additionally, you're having a very minimal and barefoot experience. In terms of the cons, it's all around one key thing, and that is the durability. Peeling of this outsole to the upper is very disappointing. If they fix that, I think they'd have a top shoe on their hands, and I couldn't recommend it more to anyone else. So that's my love-hate story with the Primus Asana. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I have a lot more shoe reviews coming out. I'm just getting started. All of the Primus series, plus many more from Vivobarefoot, Xerox, and other barefoot shoe brands. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.